Welcome to Infused Eats, the cooking show where everything's infused, especially me, your host, Matt Lamb. Today we're making roasted queso dip. This episode is brought to you by the mighty Fast Herbal Infuser. Please visit theherbalinfuser.com to learn more about my favorite herbal infuser device and for more infused recipes. Now here's what you need. You're going to need 8 jalapenos, 1 onion, 2 tablespoons of infused butter or oil, 1 clove of garlic, 2 cups of half and half, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, salt and pepper to taste, 1 pound of processed cheese, something like Velveeta. Also you need 2 cups of grated sharp cheddar cheese, 2 cups of Monterey Jack cheese, and 1 14.5 ounce can of petite diced tomatoes. Now the first thing you want to do is make sure you have your infused oil. And you can use oil or butter for this recipe, either one will work fine. But make sure you decarb your herbs in the oven for 250 degrees for 25 minutes before you begin making your infusion. If you're using the mighty Fast Herbal Infuser, it's probably the easiest way, but you can use any of the methods for making infused butter or oils that we've shown you before. Now, once you have your butter or oil infused, you can proceed with dicing your jalapenos. Now I like to make sure that I get them chopped nice and even, so you can cut them into little strips and then chop them across lengthways if you want them to be nice and even. But however you choose to chop your jalapenos is your own prerogative. So we set those aside once you have them chopped. Then we're going to go on and go ahead and prep the onion as well. Again, we're going to dice it into pretty small pieces as evenly as possible, because when we roast them, we want to not have some burn and then some be not cooked. Then we're going to prep a roasting pan with a little bit of cooking oil. Toss in those peppers and also go ahead and toss in the onions. And you could use poblanos or some kind of other peppers if you don't want to use jalapenos, but I like the spiciness of the jalapenos. I have them in the pan. I'm going to hit them a couple more times with the cooking oil on top just to make sure it doesn't burn. And then I'm going to roast them in a really hot oven, 425 degrees Fahrenheit. It took about 30 minutes. And what you want is for them to start caramelizing, a little bit browning around the edge and in the pan, and the great aroma that smells like you just walked into a fabulous Italian restaurant. Okay, once those are roasted, you can proceed, or you can go ahead and get an advanced step while you're roasting and dice your garlic up. Again, we want to mince the garlic pretty fine. Now the reason I'm roasting these peppers and onions separately is, one, for the flavor, and also because I don't want to overheat my oil, my infused butter or oil, when I'm cooking the onions. So I'm going to do this on low heat, and now we're proceeding on with the next step. I've got my onions and peppers roasted, and I'm putting in my garlic and into my infused oil or butter. And I'm using regular low heat, barely letting those garlic cook nice and slow until they just start to brown, but never turning the heat above low. Okay, once the garlic is finished, now we're going to add in our cooked peppers and onions. You can go ahead and add in your half and half. If you don't have half and half, you could use half heavy cream and half milk, and it's basically the same thing. We're adding in our chili powder. Also going to add in our black pepper and salt to taste. And it's kind of hard to tell what it's going to taste like before you add your cheese, so you probably just kind of get accustomed to how much salt or pepper you like to add there, or you could wait and season it at the end. I used a full tablespoon of pepper and a half teaspoon of salt. Okay, once you bring that up and let those cream and everything kind of get warm, then you can go ahead and add in your cheese. I'm using Velveeta Blanco, the white Velveeta cheese. It worked really great. Tastes good too. Okay, and continuing to work on low heat. We're never going to really do this above low heat, and you could really almost do this in a crock pot if you wanted to. And then what we had done now is adding in our cheese. Once we let that Velveeta melt down till it's smooth, wait till then, and then start adding in your grated cheese, your other 2 grated cheese, and add it in a little bit at a time, and then just mix it in. And what we want to do there is to keep it nice and smooth and keep it from clumping, and then make sure that the Velveeta sort of softens the mixture before you start adding in the cheese, or it may separate out from the oil. Okay, so everything's still on low. We've got all the cheese nice and smooth, and I like to drain my diced tomatoes. That's kind of up to you, but if you don't, you'll have a lot more red colored queso and maybe a little bit more runny than you want. So I drain my diced tomatoes and then mix them in right at the last minute and mix it all together, and it's ready to go. You want to keep a lid on it to keep the top from drying out till you're ready to serve it. And this is just a little pro tip. If you want it to be stronger, you could also use some of the butter that you have infused and brush it onto some tortilla chips and put those in the oven and warm them up just a few minutes before you serve your queso dip. And it'll be a lot more potent, and it tastes good too. So that's a good little tip you might want to try out. Either way, this is a really good queso. Great thing for a Super Bowl party or for a Cinco de Mayo party. This episode is brought to you by the Mighty Fast Herbal Infuser. Please visit theherbalinfuser.com to learn more about my favorite herbal infuser device and for more infused recipes.